Sri Aurobindo has given us three fundamental principles of teaching. The first principle is nothing can be taught. Seems strange. If nothing can be taught, then all the teachers and schools and colleges become redundant. But let's try and see what is the intention behind what he has said. Can you really teach anything to somebody who is not willing to learn? And therefore, if any learning happens, it's because the student wants to learn, not because the teacher teaches. It's a common observation that the teacher teaches the same thing to the whole class, and some students learn very well, some a little bit, and some hardly anything at all. So it's not really teaching that is important, it is learning by the student that is important. Now, what is the relevance of this to education? The relevance is that more important than what we teach is creating in the child the love for learning. And next comes making the child learn how to learn. And finally, perfecting the instruments of learning, that is the body and the mind. It is often said that the principle that it is more important for the student to know how to learn than to learn something applies only to higher education. But in fact, we underestimate children. The children are capable of quite a bit of self learning. And Sri Aurobindo says that, in fact, what differs is only the amount of help and guidance that is necessary, not the fundamental principle that the student can learn a lot on her own. And now the second principle. The second principle of teaching is that the mind should be consulted for its own growth. Whose mind? The student's mind, not the teacher's. Now, each child is unique. Each child has her own talents and handicaps, strengths and weaknesses, passions and inclinations. And this should be taken into account in the teaching process. And this is what should guide the process of teaching. The school should provide an enriched environment and exposure to a wide range of activities so that the child can discover and the teacher, through observations, can discover, in case of each child, what is it that the child is really most interested in, what is it that the child is good at. This may involve not only experimenting with different types of activities and different types of learning, it also may involve some struggle, but it's worth it. And once we know what the child is really interested in, then the teacher's job or the school's job is to nurture that particular talent, to encourage it. As a result of this process, one would discover what is it that the child is really good at, what is it that the child has talent for. And once we know that, then the child can progress in that particular area at her own pace. For example, if a child has a talent for mathematics, then this child could, in class 3, do the maths that is required for class 3 as well as for class 4. And next year, the child may be in class 4, but it could be learning maths at class 5 level. In the same way, if this child is not really good at languages, then this child could be learning language at class 3 level when the child is in class 4. This is what we call free progress. That is, the child progresses in the school at his or her own pace in the individual subjects. In the free progress system, the child's progress in school is not determined by conventions and preconceived ideas. The second thing that one would discover is what is it that the child is passionate about? What are the activities in which the child gets so involved that the child loses track of time? Be it drawing or music or sports, then the school's job is to help the child develop and nurture that particular talent. The third principle of teaching is from the near to the far, from that which is to that which shall be. What it means is that we should be aware of what we are starting with and what is it that we want to finish. For example, if we start with a stone and want to make a statue, then the statue is within the stone, but then we have to chisel bit by bit. In other words, we should be aware of the child as it is at present and the child's potential. From the near to the far would also mean from what is familiar to the child to what is unfamiliar, starting with what the child already knows, taking the child towards what the child has to know, and starting with simple things and moving from there to complex things. Here is a recap of the three principles.